The unexpected knock. The rain was falling hard that night. The streets outside were dark and empty. Most people in the small human town were asleep. Daniel sat alone in his small house reading an old book. He liked quiet nights, no noise, no visitors, but that night would not be quiet. A sudden knock on the door made him jump. It was not the sound of a friend knocking. It was slow, soft, and strange. Daniel looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. He stood up and walked to the door. Another knock came, softer this time. He opened the door a little and peeked outside. At first, he thought no one was there. Then he looked down. A small figure stood in the rain. She was thin, her clothes wet and torn. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly in the dark. Her big eyes shone like silver. Daniel had never seen anyone like her before. She looked up at him with trembling lips. "My mother passed away. Can I stay with you, human?" she said. Her voice was soft but heavy with sadness. Daniel froze. The words felt unreal. He opened the door wider, the cold air rushing in. "Who are you?" he asked carefully. The girl hugged something close to her chest, a small pendant that glowed faintly. "My name is Lyra," she said. Her voice shook, and her eyes kept darting toward the street. "I have nowhere to go." Daniel hesitated. It was dangerous to invite a stranger in, even more dangerous when that stranger was not human, but the rain was heavy and she was shivering. "Come inside," he said finally. Lyra stepped in, dripping water onto the floor. She looked around like she had never been inside a human home before. Daniel closed the door and locked it. He gave her a blanket. "Sit by the fire," he said. She sat, wrapping herself tightly. Her silver eyes kept glancing toward the window. "You're not from around here," Daniel said. She didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, They were looking for me." "Who's looking for you?" Daniel asked. She stayed silent. Her hands gripped the glowing pendant like it was her life. Outside, Daniel thought he heard a faint hum. It was a sound he did not recognize. He walked to the window and looked out through the rain. A strange light moved in the distance. It was not a car. It was something floating above the ground, scanning the street. "Stay here," Daniel told her. He went to the door and listened. The hum grew louder for a moment, then faded. When he turned back, Lyra was staring at him with fear. "They will find me if you open the door," she said. "Who will find you?" Daniel asked again. Her lips moved as if she wanted to answer, but instead she shook her head. Daniel sighed. This was trouble. He had lived a quiet life, and now, in one night, everything was changing. The pendant in Lyra's hand seemed alive. Its glow pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "What is that?" Daniel asked, pointing to it. "It's the last thing my mother gave me," she said. Her voice broke for a moment. "She told me to find a human, any human, and trust them." Daniel frowned. That was strange. Why would her mother tell her to find a human? And why him? Outside, the hum came back, louder this time. Lyra's eyes widened. "They're here," she whispered. Daniel's instincts told him to send her away, but something about her, the fear in her voice, the sadness in her eyes, made him stay still. "Follow me," he said. He led her to the back of the house. There was a small basement door. She stepped inside, clutching the pendant. Daniel closed it quietly, leaving her in the dark, safe for now. Moments later, heavy knocks hit the front door. Daniel's heart raced. He walked to the door and opened it just a crack. Two tall figures stood outside, wearing dark armor that shone under the rain. Their helmets hid their faces, but their voices were cold. "Have you seen a fugitive? Small, blue-skinned, possibly carrying a stolen object?" Daniel's mind raced. He thought of Lyra hiding below. He thought of the strange glow of her pendant, and he thought of the fear in her eyes. "No," he said calmly. The armored figures looked at each other. One leaned closer, scanning his face. "If you see her, you will report it," the soldier said. Daniel nodded slowly. They turned and walked into the rain, the hum of their ship fading into the distance. When the sound was gone, Daniel closed the door. He stood in the dark, listening to the rain again. He knew his life had just changed, and he had no idea why. Shelter in the storm, the house was quiet again, but Daniel's heart was not. It was still beating too fast. The soldiers' voices stayed in his mind. Their words were heavy. Fugitive, stolen object, report it. He didn't know who they were, but he knew they weren't from Earth. Daniel walked to the basement and opened the door. Lyra was sitting on the cold floor, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her silver eyes looked up when she heard him. "Are they gone?" she asked in a whisper. "For now," Daniel said, "but they'll be back." She nodded slowly. Her pendant was still glowing, but now the light inside it was moving, swirling like a tiny storm. Daniel had never seen anything like it. "What is that thing really?" he asked again. Her lips pressed together. Then she said, "It's not safe for you to know, human." Daniel almost laughed. "Not safe? You're in my house, hiding in my basement, and you think I'm safe now?" Her gaze dropped to the floor. "I didn't choose you," she said. My mother did." Daniel felt a strange chill at her words. "Your mother is dead," he said softly. Lyra's fingers tightened on the pendant. "Yes, and she died because of what I carry." The rain outside grew louder. Somewhere far away, a deep boom shook the air. Daniel frowned. "What was that?" Lyra's head snapped toward the sound. "They've started the sweep," she said quickly. Her voice trembled. "Once they lock onto the pendant signal, they will come in seconds." Daniel stared at her. "You brought a tracker into my home?" "It's not a tracker," she said. "It's a key. And it's looking for something. Here, on Earth." Daniel felt his stomach tighten. "What could be here that they want?" She shook her head. "Not what they want. Who they want." Before Daniel could ask more, a shadow moved past the window. It wasn't human. The shadow was tall, its head strange and elongated. Then came a new sound. A sharp, pulsing click, 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 like metal claws tapping on glass. Daniel's skin prickled. "They found us," Lyra whispered. The window suddenly flashed with white light. Daniel pulled Lyra upstairs. The front door shook under heavy blows. Bang, bang, bang. The noise was so strong the walls seemed to tremble. "Basement won't hold," Lyra said, her voice rising. Daniel looked around desperately. "Back door now," he said. They ran into the kitchen, but as Daniel reached for the lock, the doorknob turned on its own. He froze. The door creaked open a little, but there was nothing outside, only rain. Then, a black clawed hand slowly reached through the gap. Lyra's pendant suddenly pulsed bright white. The creature hissed, a sound like steam hitting fire, and yanked its hand back. Daniel slammed the door shut, bolting it. Lyra was shaking. "They can't touch it," she said, her voice a mix of fear and relief. Daniel pointed at the glowing pendant. "Then you'd better start talking, because I need to know what I'm protecting." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said the first thing that made Daniel truly afraid. "This world doesn't know yet, but you, humans, are the only ones who can stop them." Before Daniel could speak, the lights in the house flickered. Then they went out. Outside, through the darkness, the hum came back. Only this time, it wasn't far away. It was right above the house. The truth about her mother. Daniel did not turn. The cold barrel of the weapon pressed harder against his skull. He could hear the faint whir of machinery inside it. Not a human gun. A voice behind him spoke again. "Give us the seed, human, and the girl will be taken alive." Lyra's voice was sharp. "No," she said, "you can't touch it. You can't even hold it." The voice gave a short, mocking laugh. "True, but you can." Daniel's thoughts spun. Why him? Why did every alien tonight seem to think a human could do what they couldn't? Slowly he turned. The figure was tall, wrapped in dark armor that shimmered like oil in the light. Where a face should be, there was only a smooth black mask. But in the mask's center, a thin red slit glowed. Watching him, the weapon in its hand was small, but Daniel had no doubt it could kill him in an instant. The figure spoke again. "Your kind has always been indifferent," it said. "Your minds are closed to the voice. That is why the seed will answer you, and only you." Daniel's jaw tightened. "What voice?" The figure tilted its head, almost amused. "You don't hear it? How lucky you are. Most species hear the Empire's command the moment they are born. We speak, and they obey. But humans are silent inside." Daniel didn't understand all of it, but he understood one thing. If humans couldn't be controlled, They were dangerous to whoever this empire was. The armored figure stepped closer to Lyra. Her hand clutched the pendant tighter. "My mother died to keep this from you," she said, her voice trembling but fierce. "She told me the seed will only open for someone who is free in the mind, and that's why I came to a human." Daniel's mind burned with questions. Why had her mother known about humans at all? What exactly was sleeping under Earth? And why did this empire fear it so much they'd send hunters through the rain to find it? The figure moved suddenly, too fast for Daniel to react. Its clawed hand reached for Lyra, but the pendant's glow erupted into blinding light. The figure screamed, the sound tearing through the room like ripping metal, and stumbled back, clutching its mask. "Run!" Lyra shouted. Daniel grabbed her arm and they bolted through the kitchen door. Outside, the rain hit them like cold knives. Overhead, the dark shape of a ship loomed, massive, silent, blocking the stars. Its underside opened like a mechanical mouth, red lights pouring down over the yard. Daniel and Lyra dashed into the back alley. The hum of the ship followed, vibrating through the ground. "They won't stop," Lyra gasped. "They will keep coming until you open the seed, or they kill us both." They turned a corner. Daniel's heart hammered. He had no reason to help her. No reason except for the fact that his quiet life was all reb. 80 gone, and somewhere deep inside, a voice, his own voice, told him one thing. If what she said was true, this wasn't just her fight, it was his. It was all of humanity's. Humans are different. Daniel and Lyra didn't stop running until the lights of the ship faded behind tall buildings. They ducked into an old warehouse at the edge of town. The air inside was thick with dust and the smell of rusted metal. Daniel leaned against a wall, trying to catch his breath. "They'll find us," Lyra said, her voice sharp. "They can smell the seed's call even through metal." Daniel looked at her. "Then tell me what makes me so important. Why a human?" She hesitated. "You've already seen it," she said. "You just don't know." Before Daniel could ask, a shadow moved inside the warehouse. Another figure stepped forward, but this one was not armored. It was tall, its skin gray and stretched, eyes like black pools. Daniel froze. It opened its mouth, sighing, but didn't speak in words. Instead, a strange sound poured out. A deep, steady pulse like a heartbeat made of whispers. It wasn't noise, it was inside his head. The whispers grew louder, shaping into commands. "Drop the seed. Walk forward. Kneel." Daniel's body went cold, but nothing happened. He was still standing, still holding his breath. The creature tilted its head, confused. It tried again, louder, and Daniel felt the pressure in his skull, but no control. Lyra stepped between them. "Do you understand now?" she said. "This is what they fear. Every other race obeys without a fight. But humans, your minds are locked. The voice cannot reach you." The creature hissed and lunged forward. Lyra raised the pendant. Light flashed. The creature shrieked and stumbled back into the shadows. Daniel swallowed hard. They can do that to anyone?" "Everyone," Lyra said, "except you." Daniel's mind reeled. "If what you're saying is true, then—" The sound of engines roared outside, cutting him off. The wall beside them shook as something massive landed nearby. Lyra grabbed his arm. "They won't stop trying to break you, Daniel," she said. "They don't need to kill you. They only need you to obey." Daniel clenched his fists. "Then they're going to be disappointed," he said. But deep inside he knew. Resisting was one thing. Fighting them was something else entirely. The chase begins. The warehouse door shook. Something heavy slammed against it. Once, twice, 3 times. Each blow was harder than the last. Dust rained from the ceiling. "They've found us," Lyra said, her voice sharp with fear. Daniel didn't need her to tell him. The deep hum of the ship was right outside. Through a crack in the wall, he saw the glow of red searchlights sweeping across the street. Figures in black armor were moving in from both sides. "They're blocking the exits," Daniel muttered. "Then we make a new one," Lyra said. She touched the pendant to a rusted side door. The metal glowed, hissed, and melted just enough for them to slip through. The moment they stepped outside, the cold rain hit their faces. But there was no time to breathe. 2 hunters were already running toward them. Daniel grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her into the alley. Behind them, the hunters' clawed feet hit the ground like metal striking stone. They didn't shout, didn't speak. They just closed in, silent and fast. Where? Daniel asked. Spaceport, Lyra said. If we reach it, we can disappear in the traffic. Daniel almost laughed. The nearest spaceport was on the far edge of the city, and right now, every road there was crawling with enemies. They cut through back streets, weaving between old buildings. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning the ground with beams of pale blue light. Once the light passed over Daniel's shoulder. His skin burned as if the air itself had turned to fire. Lyra pulled him under a collapsed roof just before another drone passed. Keep moving, she said. They'll call the larger ships if we slow down. The alleys grew narrower. The rain turned into a thin mist. Daniel noticed something. The hum of the main ship was gone. He looked up, and his blood ran cold. Above them, a shape like a giant black spider crawled across the rooftops. Its body was smooth and curved, but its legs ended in sharp hooks that pierced the buildings as it moved. It wasn't a ship. It was alive. What is that? Daniel whispered. A keeper, Lyra said, her voice low. They don't hunt with claws. They hunt with fear. The keeper stopped moving. Its head, or what Daniel thought might be its head, tilted toward them. Suddenly the air turned heavy. Daniel felt a pressure in his chest like someone was pushing down on him. Lyra grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Don't listen, she said. Don't let it in. The keeper's voice slid into his mind, deep, slow, and terrible. Stop running. Kneel. Wait for us. Daniel gritted his teeth. His legs trembled, but he didn't stop. Run, he said through clenched teeth, and they did. They burst out of the alley into an open street. Right in front of a patrol, blasters lit the night. Bolts of red energy sizzled past them. Daniel ducked, dragging Lyra toward a narrow stairwell that led underground. They raced down the stairs into darkness. Behind them, the sound of claws, metal boots, and inhuman whispers filled the air. Daniel didn't know where the stairs led, but one thing was clear. This was no longer just a chase. It was a hunt, and they were the prey. A hidden message. The stairwell ended in a dark tunnel. The walls were wet. The air smelled of rust and old water. Daniel's footsteps splashed in shallow puddles as he pulled Lyra forward. Somewhere above, the sound of claws scraped against concrete, searching. They're splitting up, Lyra whispered. They want to drive us into a trap. Daniel stopped. Then we go the other way. He turned, but froze. Behind them, at the top of the stairs, a red light was growing. It wasn't a flashlight, it was a scanner beam, and it was moving down toward them. This way, Lyra said, yanking him deeper into the tunnel. The space grew narrower until they had to turn sideways to pass. Daniel's shoulders brushed the cold, wet stone. The scanner light vanished, replaced by silence. Too much silence. Then the voice came. Not from behind, not from ahead. From inside. You cannot run forever, human. Daniel clenched his fists. He knew it was the voice Lyra had warned him about. It pressed against his mind like a cold hand, trying to push, trying to twist his thoughts, but Daniel pushed back. No, he whispered. The pressure broke. Lyra watched him, her eyes wide. You felt it, she said. That's why my mother trusted your kind. Daniel started to speak, but the pendant in her hand suddenly flared, not with soft light but with a sharp, searing glow. The tunnel walls lit up as if on fire. Symbols appeared on the stone, glowing in the same light as the pendant. What is this? Daniel asked. Lyra's voice shook. The seed is opening. It's showing us the path. The symbols shifted, forming a map, not of the city, not of Earth, of something far larger. A network of lines, dots, and circles stretching into the dark. In the center was a pulsing red mark. That's their control core, Lyra said. Destroy that, and the voice dies. For every world. Daniel stared at it. And you think I'm the one who can get there? You're the only one who can, she said. Before Daniel could answer, the tunnel shook. A deep rumble rolled through the ground. Chunks of stone fell from the ceiling. From the darkness ahead, two red eyes blinked open. Low to the ground, moving fast. Run, Lyra said. But the thing was already charging. Daniel had just enough time to grab the pendant's chain. The moment his skin touched it, the glow exploded. Brighter than before, filling the tunnel with blinding white light. The charging creature screamed. The sound was not just in the air, it was in their bones. Then it vanished into the dark. The light faded, The map still glowed faintly in the air between them. Daniel looked at Lyra. Her voice was steady now. "They'll never stop, Daniel," she said. "And now that the seed has chosen you, you can never go back." The human choice. Daniel stood in the dark tunnel, the glow of the seed still pulsing between his hands. Its light seemed to breathe, slow, alive, watching him. Somewhere far above, the hum of the hunter's ship moved like a shark in deep water. They were circling, waiting. Lyra's voice broke the silence. "You've seen the map," she said. "You know what it means." Daniel shook his head. "I'm not a soldier." "You don't have to be," she said. "You just have to be human." Her words lingered in the air. Daniel wanted to believe he could walk away, that if he handed the seed over, they might let him live, but deep inside he knew the hunters would never stop. They would kill Lyra, and then they would find another human to use. And when they were done, Earth would be nothing but another silent world under the voice. The tunnel trembled. A sharp, echoing hiss came from the shadows ahead. Figures stepped into the faint light. Not one, not two, but 6 hunters. Their armor dripped rainwater, their weapons glowing faint red. One of them spoke. "Daniel Reeve, give us the seed. Your pain will be brief." Daniel felt the weight of the pendant in his hands. He glanced at Lyra. She stood straight, even in fear. Her mother's fight was now hers, and if he took it, it would be his too. Something in him shifted. The fear didn't vanish, but it hardened into something else. Resolve. He took a step forward. "You want it?" he said, holding up the seed. The hunter's red visors locked onto him. Daniel smiled. "Just a little." "Then come and take it." The seed's glow exploded, but this time it wasn't just light. A wave of force rippled out, throwing the hunters back into the walls. Their weapons clattered to the floor. The tunnel lights flickered and burned out. In that moment of chaos, Daniel grabbed Lyra's hand. They ran deeper into the tunnels, the map from the seed hovering faintly in the air before them, guiding the way. The roar of the hunters behind them was swallowed by the echo of their footsteps, and for the first time Daniel realized something. He wasn't just running from them anymore. He was running toward something, somewhere far above, in the dark of the alien ship. A different voice spoke. "The human has chosen. Begin the war." The seed's light flared once more, and the tunnel swallowed them whole.